Hi, Hannah. How are you?
Good, how are you? It's so nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Thank you for reaching out.
I'm glad that this could work out.
Me too. I am.
It's kind of like an introduction for like my listeners. I like to tell them that I am a huge fan of yours, and I mean this as the highest compliment ever. Tears have been shed to your songs
Oh,
in the best way possible.
thank you. I mean, hopefully this song, particularly the one that just came out, like this one's to heal too. So, like, hopefully it's good tears, cathartic tears.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Yeah. All
yeah,
healing tears. Yeah.
wonderful. Sorry, and I guess good too. I don't know.
Sorry, and also you're welcome.
Yeah, I'm not sure which one. Both, both.
I feel like I can talk for like all girls, like kind of in like my age range, like thank you. Like we needed that. Dating, especially in college, is not it.
I don't even know. I was like, okay, I was with somebody for a very long time.
Mhm.
And so I was like out of the dating pool. And now I'm like in the dating pool. And I'm like, what is going on? I'm like, how is this? How is this what I returned to? I'm like, no, no,
Yeah,
this is bad. I sympathize really heavily, honestly.
exactly. 'Cause
Like,
how is this allowed? How is this okay?
how is this allowed?
Yeah.
What is going on? Like the standards are so low. Like it's shocking. It's
It's
like really shocking.
yeah, it's bad.
It's bad. I'm like, every woman should just like rally together and just like agree. We should have like a dating constitution and just like agree on like certain standards. And so then like everybody is just gonna like either have to like get behind it or
Exactly.
like struggle, like,
Yeah.
and not date anyone and not get women because we need some sort of like bar at
Red
this point. I'm like,
bar is non-existent. It's not real.
non-existent. It's not real. I'm like, what is going on? It's terrible. So I really feel for you, and I'm sorry. I can't even imagine. Hopefully, this song empowers people to know that they deserve better and that they should not settle though for like
It does for sure.
anybody. Honestly,
We can get started. I have some questions. Could you tell us a little bit about your journey as a musician from where you first started pursuing music to where you are now?
yeah. I mean, I started like writing songs when I was really young. I always loved doing it. Like, I don't really remember a period of time where I wasn't making music or I wasn't singing. Um, I think when you're really young, my parents were kind of like, not my mom. My mom is very like optimistic. My mom was like, "Oh my God, yay! Like you're gonna be a musician." And my dad is not American, so I think he was more just like, "You've got to like prove." He has more of like that mentality, like you have to prove that you're you want to do this. And I think I just never grew out of it. Like I just consistently started loving it more, and I would pretty much like write every day and just sing all the time and was very dedicated to it. And then yeah, I got like I went to school for it. Like I went to NYU and I got into like a really small program there that it's called Clive Davis. And like I don't know, there I like kind of learned how to produce and I really found my creative voice. Like before I was just writing a lot on guitar and not really producing as much. Like
Mhm.
this song that just came out, like I produced on pretty heavily with one of my best friends and amazing producer named Jake Weinberg.
Mhm.
But like I think that before all that, I was just like writing on my guitar and figuring out what I wanted to say and like my perspective. And I think it takes a lot of time to like really understand what you want to say. And then when I was in school, like I really just started like getting into the nitty gritty of it. And then I kind of honestly like felt ready to start like putting stuff into the world and to like share my perspective. And that's like what I've been doing now, honestly, for a very short amount of time within my like creative career. But yeah.
I think we all expect to see big things from you. And I did notice, like, going through your Spotify that you do have a producer tag on like all of your songs, which I think is a really like incredible thing because I think a lot of artists they don't produce their own songs, so I think it's kind of amazing that you do.
Thank you. I mean, I honestly want to encourage like all girls that are interested in music to like learn about production, because I think that it's so like when you're young, and this is like what happened to me, honestly. Like I was like, I want to be a musician, and so like everyone was like, okay, great, like we'll put you in like voice lessons and we'll put you in like dance lessons, and like nobody's like, oh, like let's teach you how to use like your computer or like Pro Tools or Ableton. Nobody teaches you that. And so I believe the statistic is like only 2% of producers within the music industry are females. And that's like so, yeah, that's so low. And production is so important because, a song can be produced 10,000 ways,
Mhm.
and, it's going to change your artistic voice so much. And I think that like there's nobody better than an artist,
Yeah.
than a female artist, to be able to like articulate what they want and like to be their own voice. And so like if you can have those tools in that language, I like could not recommend that more, honestly.
So I think also it makes the song feel like to the listener more personal. You can almost feel that connection that the artist has with the song.
Totally. I would 100% agree. I think honestly it's everything. Like I think the a song always, it has to be great and you have to love it and there has to be something behind it that you believe in. But what it gets like packaged in
Mhm.
really does like make such a difference. It really does. And I think that even if the listener doesn't know a lot about production, I think that it breathes through, like regardless. I think a listener can like feel it regardless.
I agree.
I'm in the mindset that listeners are really intelligent. Like some people in, in the industry are just like, oh, like the consumers, like just like give them whatever, like what they don't know. And I'm like, no, they know. Like I really feel that way. And I feel like especially now with like TikTok and just like honestly everything that's just like more like direct, like
Mhm.
artist to listener to fan to whatever you want to call like, your supporters. Like I think that there's such a like a connection, such a symbiotic feeling that permeates through that. I think the listener is intelligent. I'm going on record and saying I think the listener is
Sure.
smart.
Listeners
That's
smarter than you think.
Yeah, I think they are. I'm like, what is this like verbiage that listeners are like not like that? They're just like, oh, it's like the consumer. I'm like, no, no, no. Like, I'm a list because when I think about it, I'm like, I'm a listener, and like
Yeah.
my friends are listeners, and like we all know what we like, and like especially now, like being on TikTok and like just getting to see really amazing like women and such dope people like listening to music and being listeners. I'm like, these are all amazing, intelligent people. Like like it matters, it matters the care and the like level that you put in, I think, at least. So
I think so too. So you mentioned TikTok. What like role do you feel that social media plays in building your music career? And how do you feel about it? And I've noticed like some artists express that it's annoying that you're forced to be an influencer and like the art doesn't stand on its own to promote the music. How does that make you feel?
yeah, I think for a really long time I had such like a tumultuous relationship with it because yeah, like I was more in that mindset where I was like, okay, like this, I struggle to understand this. Like, why do I have to do this? Blah, blah. And then, like, I kind of just honestly, like, realized that if I really want to do what I want to do, and like, if this is the means and like the way to do it, like, I either like I'm on the train or I'm not kind of thing. And like, I love what I do. And I think that the mentality that really switched for me too is like, okay, I don't have to like hate this, like I can make it sustainable for me and like I can do it in a way that like I enjoy it. And I think when I flipped my mentality, like that's when I started really like having fun on the app, because I think it's supposed to be fun and lighthearted. But I will say like it took me a long time to get there, but I think that I would love to see, people with power try to make change and to like implement, some sort of better system, where artists are getting paid more and whatnot. But I will say, like, TikTok is great. Like, you meet people, like you meet like I don't know. I've just like loved the women that I'm like interacting with on the app, like, and it's just so cool to see. And I love it, honestly. At this point, I do. Um, But if you'd spoken to me a year ago, I would have been like, oh my God, no. But now I feel like good about it. And I'm just like, keep going forward, just keep tracking on, honestly.
I think once you find your right community on social media, that can make the experience so much better.
I totally agree with that 100%. Yeah. My For You page for a while was being targeted to like older men. And I was like, I think that this also is partially why I don't like,
I like this. I don't feel safe here. Oh, thank you.
I was like, this is not a demographic I'm searching for. But fortunately, we're out of that hump, so it's okay.
Okay. Now we're targeting hot women who love your music.
Yes, that's all I ever wanted.
That's all we need.
That's all I want. That's all I need. Don't need anything else. It's
Exactly.
all good.
In what ways do you feel like your music has grown since the release of your first EP, Lola, in 2017?
Oh my God, you did not deep cut so hard. So funny. Um, oh my God, literally nobody's ever brought that up. Basically, it's actually really funny. I was thinking about this like the other day. I think that because I've been writing songs. I wrote the songs when I was like 12 years old. And there's like literally a song about like a prostitute on. Wait, can I say that? Is that okay to talk about this?
You could say, yeah, yeah,
Okay. Like, not to be controversial, but like, because like I grew up in New York City and like I would take the train every day to school. And there was this like one woman there that was like a sex worker. And basically like I kind of would talk to her and I was like very inspired by her story and like that I was literally 12 years old. I can't believe. And that's who the EP is literally named after. This is so crazy. I'm like, oh my God, I can't even believe we're talking about this. But honestly, to answer your question, I don't think it's changed that much. Like I think sonically I've like grown and my voice has changed and like I would hopefully say I'd become like a better writer, but like I still think that like it's very much geared from like the female perspective and like trying to bring honestly like a sense of empowerment and yeah, like thoughtfulness and emotion and like sensitivity to what I make. And like it's not that it's exclusively like for women per se, but I think it's just like anybody that can identify with those feelings, you know? And so yeah, I mean that's such I cannot like honestly good on you for your research. That's so crazy. I don't even know that's like anywhere. I don't even know if that's anywhere. Um but yeah, it was yeah, that's so crazy.
Sorry.
Good on you. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God.
I feel like it's so annoying when like people interview like artists and they don't know who they are
That's
and
true.
basic questions. So
Oh my gosh, it's actually so crazy. But it's such a it's to me like the music is sonically so different. I was very young. I didn't produce those records, but I like yeah, I mean I was still writing about the things I'm writing about now. I was like feeling it's like this I feel like I'm constantly trying to like push back and like ask for more and ask for better and like the way that you know I'm being treated and I think in turn the way that like most women or anybody like really like feeling the burden of that is being treated and like that's honestly what the whole EP was sort of about at like 12, which is crazy but it's true. So
it's amazing to be so profound at 12. I think at 12 I have no idea what I was doing. Probably playing in dirt somewhere.
that's probably better, probably healthier than being on like 42nd Street in New York City. Like that's not necessarily good but that's like what I was. I mean I grew up in the city so it was like that and so it's so ridiculous but it's true. That's the truth of it. So
How do you think that growing up in the city like affected you as a developing artist?
I think I just was very exposed to a lot of things when I was growing up. I mean, like obviously I wrote I mean, yeah, like that's pretty clear, but I think you grow up very fast. I also think that, you know, I was surrounded by all different walks of life and like I went to public school and like you kind of then are in turn, because New York is a kind of, I mean, it's real when they say it's like a melting pot. You're surrounded by people with all different socioeconomic backgrounds, and there's a lot of like racial diversity and gender diversity, and there's so many different types of people that I think that your perspective just gets broadened from a very young age, honestly. And it's also humbling. I think New York has humbled me a lot throughout my
Yeah.
very humbling city. Um, so yeah, I'm sure that's like trickled into the music in some way.
For songwriting, do you think that it helps writing from other perspectives too, since you've like been around so many different people?
Yeah, I think so. It makes you also more malleable in like I don't know, just like with I think you learn too, like that every person and every culture has such different like set of standards and like how they want to be treated and respected. And I think that like there's definitely like a really like heavily like westernized perspective in this country that like is very like America first. And I think that New York is like an exception to that rule. I think it's kind of just everything is all there. And I think that that's also great. And yeah, as a songwriter, like hearing stories, just you pick stuff up like 100%, which is great. And there's so much inspiration and amazing people.
Who would you say are your biggest musical influences?
Oof. I've loved so much music throughout my life, but I would say when I was growing up, it was a lot of like the singer songwriters kind of the 70s. It was like a lot of like Carole King and Bob Dylan and people in that vein. And then when I started getting into production, I started really falling in love with like more, more like slightly avant-garde, but still pop artists like Kate Bush or like Bjork and Rosalia and all these like really amazing women. But I have this like thing where I think at my heart and my core, I'm definitely a singer songwriter. So I'm like drawn to singer songwriters, but I also then love when like sonics tell a really great story. Um, I love John Bryan. Like I love film stuff. I love Bon Iver. I was definitely like a Lana Del Rey girl. Like I grew up with a lot of Lana Del Rey. I mean, I just was like through and through. I mean, maybe yeah, that's also partially maybe why I wrote that EP. But I like was very much. I mean, she's so impactful, and I'm very glad that she's finally getting her recognition that she deserves because I've been on this train for many years. So I would say that those are the people that inspire me the most, honestly.
I think it's interesting that you bring up like Rosalia and Lana Del Rey because they're very much known for writing stories in their music as well. And I can like sense that in your music too, which I really enjoy as a listener.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean that's definitely like I'm definitely very passionate about that. I and I'm like really drawn to that in other people's music as well, which makes sense why I love both of them. Yeah, I think the story. I love like the idea that like a song is almost like a miniature movie in a way that it can like take you into this like experience, and there's like different colors and different images and different like feelings and moods that like you associate with it. And I think that that's kind of like a movie and a story in its own way, honestly.
If you had to say, this one's might be kind of a tough question, but what's been the most significant moment or experience in your music career so far, and how did that shape you as an artist?
Wow. Honestly, it's not been like an event, but it's been like a mindset switch, I think, and it's been semi recent. I think that when you're a younger artist, like there's a lot of like directions you can go in, and there's like a lot of people with a lot of opinions. And I think that like for a few years there was a lot of self-discovery happening with other people and hearing a lot of what I should be or what I shouldn't be and whatnot. And I think that over the last like half a year to a year, I've really come to this like internal realization that has in turn changed the way that I make music, which is very much just like following my own like instincts and listening to my intuition and doing it with like confidence, even if I end up being like incorrect about something. And I think that mindset switch the last 6 months has been the most impactful part of like my creative journey because, and I will also say, like, I recommend this for all, like, especially women artists, because a lot of people will try to mold you into something and make you something that, like, you maybe don't even want to be or don't know that you want to be or not. Like, what you're guided towards, like, initially, and like what inspires you is like where you should follow, like, without a doubt, in my opinion, without question. So I think realizing that and really just like sticking to that internal clock and that compass and accepting whatever that is has been the best part of my creative journey recently. And that comes with like getting older, I think too, just being more like okay with like like following your own arrow, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like we can definitely hear that in your music, and I think we can hear that you're not putting on a fake persona. You are who you are. That's what makes your music special.
Thank you. That's really nice. Thank you. I'm trying. Like that's what the intention is. So I'm really glad that it's coming through, honestly.
Yeah, because I was just scrolling on my For You page and I heard your song and immediately went to Spotify to listen to it. And that doesn't happen often for me. So I feel
Mm,
like a short snippet like drew me in, which I think it will for others too.
thank you so much. Actually, like that means a lot. I really appreciate it, and I'm so glad that it's now being targeted to women like you. I'm like, thank God. That's like exactly what I want. So that makes me really happy.
Well, I've noticed that your music often blends elements of different genres. Could you share some insights into your creative process and how you develop your unique sound?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because at this point it's very fluid. Like I will try to like if I write a song on like the guitar or the piano, however I start it, I try very hard now at this point to not complicate it and just like listen to what it kind of like wants to be. And because I think it's like being filtered through me, it naturally like will be something that will sound like like belongs to me. Um I think also the creative process, like it really just depends. Like right now, what's inspiring me is like tasteful simplicity and like how can you let a song breathe and like support a song rather than like overshadowing a song or like being insecure and like overproducing a song and adding like too many elements or like hiding your voice or like whatever, all this stuff that I think every artist has like done at some point. um but I really think it's really funny, and this is like there's it's very esoteric, so there's not like one clear answer, but I will say like every instrument too, like every guitar you pick up, like inspires a different sound, inspires a different song. So I would say at this point, production is just about like really like listening to what music like wants to be and also asking yourself like do I feel something from this, and like if the answer is like yes, then that is usually like a good indicator that others like will, you know.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think it's finally time to talk about your new single, Made Your Bed. People who have experienced maybe like an avoidant partner or a partner that just doesn't know what they want, it's a really hard decision to finally leave. And I think they felt extremely validated by your lyrics. And like from a listener standpoint, we can hear the emotion behind your voice. What was the process that you went through when writing that song?
Yeah, so basically I like the literal writing process, like I was walking around, I went through like the end of a relationship and I was walking around my like area, which is like I said, I like kind of live in the mountains pretty much. So basically walking in the mountains and I just started thinking about my relationship and the I just got like this wave of like deep frustration because like grief just kind of like hits in like massive waves and it comes and it goes and like one minute you're fine and then the next you're like Oh my God. And I just was like so frustrated. And then I was just like he made his bed. Like I was like this. I was like, I don't get. I was like, you know what? Like whatever. Like this is like torturing me. And like I made a choice because of like a collection of actions and like needing to make that choice. And also like, you know, I said again too, this is something that comes with age, but like when you start to understand self-worth and you like really understand that like loving yourself and treating yourself well is like really the key to like how to live a good life and how others are going to treat you. And like I think it sucks because sometimes you love somebody and they don't love you the way that you need. And nobody's even like necessarily a villain or not a villain in the story. It's just like it's irrelevant. Like if you're not being loved the way that you need to be loved, like it's done. You know what I mean? And like I think I just had that line and then all the song just like poured out of me. And I was like, okay. And I went in the house and I had these lyrics and I literally just, the first chord started playing on the guitar. I basically like wrote the song and it was very like organic and very cathartic for me and also really scary because I was like, whoa, like this is really uncomfortable and painful. And like I know that the person that I wrote this about is going to hear it. And like, there's also this part of you that like doesn't want to upset them because you have love for them, but there's also a part of you that like is angry and hurt and there's so many emotions. And so yeah, it all just like happened. And then I called my friend Jake, who helped me with the song, and I was like, can I please use your studio to record this? And he was like, yeah, of course, because he's super generous. And so I went over and I recorded the song and I recorded the demo. And then I just was like, I don't know. And I was like, I'm just gonna put this on the internet. Like I feel something very strongly from this. And I did. And then like I think people just started resonating with it. Sorry, I keep giving these really long-winded answers, but that is kind of what happened, honestly, in a discombobulated order.
It's good. And I think a lot of breakup songs come from the perspective of like, oh, this person broke up with me. And this song was more like, I had to leave for myself. I haven't
Yeah.
really heard many songs like that, which I think is really important for young girls to listen to that song and resonate with it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel, and I've just from the women I've witnessed in my life, like there's a lot that like love will make you tolerate, and just like there's this like undying loyalty that I've seen in my wonderful friends, and it will like take it out of you. And I think that like oftentimes when we began our conversation like talking about literally dating standards, but like I think that like it can be really tough when you love somebody and like when you idealize somebody and because it's coming from the best intentions, but like when somebody is acting like as they are, like you have to accept them like in that form.
Mhm.
And like people don't change for you, they change because they want to for themselves. And I think that's also painful because I can't speak for others, but like for me, I've gone into situations like with this like mentality of patience and like trying to love something until like blooming into something that I think it can be. And that's very wonderful, but also at the same time super damaging because you have to love yourself into blooming into the thing that you want to be. And everyone deserves to be loved like as they are, how they need to be loved. And I just think that like when and when somebody is sure about you 100%, there's a sense of safety and security.
Yeah.
And like everybody deserves that feeling. And if you don't feel that, go
Right.
walk, like everyone is just like, no matter how old or young you are, like everyone deserves like reciprocity within their relationships. It's the foundation of any real relationship. And I think that women are really intuitive and should listen
Yeah.
to that small thing that's like something's off. I really do. I think that. And I think that the more you listen to that thing, the better it becomes. And then like when you're in something that is totally reciprocated, it's empowering, and it's really, really scary to leave a relationship of somebody that you love and care about, but I think everyone needs to if you deserve better, honestly.
I always tell my friends, my listeners, myself even, if somebody shows you who they are, believe them. As women, we see
Yeah.
the potential who they could be, but when we're this young, just walk away.
Yeah, honestly. And like I'm also a firm believer that if something is like actually made for you, like it will be yours, you know? Like you choosing yourself will never strip away something that is meant for you. Like absolutely not. And I agree with you. That's something my dad would always tell me. He was very much just like men tell you who they are immediately. Like listen to them. And I was like, okay,
Yeah,
okay. I learned I've learned.
I'll try.
So yeah. So yeah, I think it's I hope that like I think like you said, there's a lot of like music and there's a lot of beautiful music that is about heartbreak in like such a specific way. But for me, like heartbreak taught me about self-worth and choosing myself. And I think that like it can do that for everyone. And so if this in any form encourages people to be empowered and like be like take the risk, which it's so tough and it's so normal if it feels scary too. Like I think that's something that people should know. It's like it's normal if it makes you feel super scared and terrible. Like because if your intuition is telling you you have to go, you like, have to go, and that's
Mhm.
ultimately what it is. And you'll heal, and it will be okay, and hopefully it will be better than okay. So
Yeah, you never know.
you
Only
never
up
know.
from here.
Yeah. Yeah.
But another song that I really like of yours is fan fiction, and I just want to know what inspired you to write fan fiction and what was the message and emotions you were hoping to convey through the lyrics and the melody.
Yeah, that song I wrote when I was quarantining in like my grandparents' house. And I was thinking about growing up with the internet and having these like sort of like fantastical relationships, like non-reciprocated relationships with like, your like teenage like celebrity crushes or like things that like really like introduce this like idea of like love and like the fantasies of like online connection and like all the things that are about the internet through like this very kind of like pure and like innocent like way, and so I was just thinking a lot about like growing up and like being in my grandparents' house and like listening to like One Direction on like my iPod at like, 8 years old and being like, oh my gosh, like, like I'm in love, like, like,
And
yeah, literally. Like stan culture and like it's just so awesome and like so great. And it like fuels like, so much romanticism and like and honestly like all these memories just started like flooding into me and just like it's for a lot of girls it's like this like like really funny and weird but like also super safe like sexual awakening to some degree and like it's awesome like it's the most yeah it's just like the most like funny and fun time in life and like I just was thinking about like that time of my life and like how that like impacted me growing up and it's yeah, just like these relationships that we have on the internet and like these crushes and like iMessaging. When it's like, when you're in like middle school and you like G chatted your crush, but you like wouldn't say hi to them in person. Like that's like also fan fiction. It's kind of just like that vibe. And yeah, it's like a fun song and it's just about like growing up and like being a young girl, honestly.
I think that really like it resonates even now, even if it's talking about being younger, because like girls like when they have crushes, they will just kind of look at their whole entire lives on social media and then
Literally.
on a date with them, you're like, let me not ask them about their aunt's birthday 2 years ago.
Yeah. Yes, definitely. It's true. It does. I unfortunately still fall into that category.
I have to know. I have to
I
see.
know, right? It's like it's out there. My friend went on a date and like the guy, this was so awesome. The guy was like, "So let's just get this off the table. Like, we've stalked each other. I know you know everything. And she's like, oh my God. She was like, it was amazing. I was like, yeah, I do. Great. Like, I'm gonna ask you about it.
Yeah.
And I feel like that should just like be the norm now.
It
I
should.
know about your ex-girlfriend from like the eighth grade. Like, tell me about her.
How was that? How'd that end? Why didn't it work
Yeah.
out?
Why didn't it work out? Yeah, like pen and paper, get ready. Yeah, I mean, like, why not? Like, may
Why
as
not?
well.
Let's be more open with it. I mean, we all know.
Literally, we do. So, I mean, you're right. It's so current. It's definitely still applicable.
Oh yeah, definitely.
As someone who gained recognition from platforms like The Voice, how do you think reality TV exposure has impacted your career? And advice would you give to aspiring artists who are maybe considering a similar path?
Yeah, I mean, I was younger when I did that show, and I was like just like freshly 16, or no, not freshly 16, but I was 16, about I guess like a few months away from being 17, and I got like scouted for it. Um, and I would say it was like a really great learning experience in like all ways. I learned a lot about performing and like being on a set. Things are like rigorous and you have to be on time, and there's a lot of like discipline that comes with participating in something like that, and honestly like a lot of nerves because you know as an artist, like when you're doing your own concerts and you're in control of your show, you're the one that's in control of kind of everything that's going on, and your fans are your fans, and there's still pressure, but the stakes are very different. And I think that it taught me a lot about pressure and just how to like handle it. And also with like a competition show, everybody has like an opinion. So because that's like what the show is about, it's about having an opinion. So learning how to like filter through positive and negative feedback online was like also a very large learning experience for me. I will say that like ultimately, like at the end of the day, like I think it was super like impactful and positive. I do think though that like when it comes, if I'm being totally honest, like when it comes to your actual like career and like growing as like an artist outside of something like that, I think that that is more about like what you bring to the table like creatively, and like do you have like a specific vision, do you have a specific sound, are you a songwriter, like like do you care about writing songs? If you're not a songwriter, then like what does it look like for you? Like is your thing you're more of like a vocal acrobat, and like that then you need to like work with writers. Like I think that all these questions that come with like artistic discovery and like development are kind of like irrelevant to the show, and I think that like those are all questions that like you need to answer in general. So I don't think the show I don't think I also don't I just don't think in general there's like one quick way to like get to where you want to go, or like some like fast track pipeline. But I think that for me it was just like a great learning experience, and I met amazing people doing it, and I learned a lot about like hate and like love and how to manage commentary, honestly, which if I'm fortunate enough to have like a long career, I will probably deal with again. And so that is like great, like learning tools, honestly.
I know like the song you came out with on the show, you sang the Billie Eilish song I Don't Want to Be You Anymore.
Yeah.
And I watched the clip of you singing it, and you sang it in your own way. I think a lot of people cover her songs, they try to sing it like her. And I like that you sang it like you.
Mm,
I think that's what
thank
made
you.
judges turn around.
Yeah, I mean, I had found that EP in high school, and I was like just really intrigued by her as a person. And also I think she's just like a great example of somebody that just like does it her own way as well. She's like amazing and incredible. And I like resonated with that song very much too. I felt like it was super powerful. And yeah, I also just think that like I again another thing that comes with like learning your artistic development, like I couldn't have sang that song better than Billy, the way that Billy sings it. I would never even try to do that. It wouldn't even like make any sense, honestly. So yeah, so I just was like, I love the song, and like I think I can translate this message. And fortunately, it worked out for me, which is good because it could have not, but it did. So very lucky.
I like how like unique you are, and the same as like Billie Eilish. I think that she's very unique. And I've noticed like even now you have a very unique sense of style, and I've seen it like on Instagram. Do you feel that that ties into your music at all?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I think that like, yeah, I think it's all like a form of like artistic presentation, and
Mm-hmm.
I would say definitely. Like I would say that I've always been kind of like when I was younger, I was like definitely more self-conscious and like interested in dressing to conform perhaps like when I was really growing up. But then I kind of like got to like middle school or like later middle school and I was kind of just like, oh, like I need to wear what makes me feel like me and feel good. And
Mm-hmm.
so, yeah, I would say so. I think clothing is like a great form of expression and awesome.
I've noticed
Mm-hmm.
that collaboration seems to play a key role in the music industry. Do you have any plans for future collaborations? And who would be a dream collab for you?
Okay. Well, I mean, I feel like down the line, not down the line, but like in the near future, like one of my best friends is a great artist named Chrissy, and I feel like her and we collaborate like a lot, just, you know, emotionally and like always sharing musical ideas with each other. So I could foresee that being like a near collaboration. Um, but also I think down the line, like, I mean, I would love to collaborate with like one of my like idols. Like obviously I'd love to, do something with like Lana or like I love Casey Musgraves or like Rosalia, like somebody like that would be amazing. I would love to like I'm a really big like Bon Iver fan, so like working on a song with like Justin Vernon or working on a song with like John Bryan as producers would just be like
Mhm.
that that'd be so great. But yes, any of those people would be like
Mhm.
dream for me.
Gotta manifest it, put it out there.
I know. Well, this is what we're doing. I'm like, it's on record now. So
It's gonna happen.
yeah, yeah, it has to. It's on record. It has to happen now.
Tell the universe.
Yeah, exactly. I'm forcing a hand. They're like, okay.
Put the order in, now let's deliver.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's literally what we're doing. So thank you. We'll wait and see. And I'll pull this up. If it does happen, I'll be like,
I'd be like, see?
yeah,
I
see?
See, I said it.
Exactly.
But can you share any insights into like upcoming projects or releases? Are there any themes or concepts you're excited to explore in future music?
Totally. I mean, I have so much music sitting in the vault, which I'm really excited about. I think
Mm-hmm.
that I've been writing a little bit like in Italian too, which has been really
Ooh.
interesting. It's been like informing my melodies. I'm like such a songwriter at heart that like my lyricism is so important and having like other people be able to understand it is so super important. So there's not
Mm-hmm.
a ton of that, but there's some of that too, which has been really cool for me because it like helps me get more in touch just like with where I came from. So that's been cool. And honestly, I've just been really just like coming out of a heartbreak and stuff. There's definitely a lot
Mm-hmm.
of that again from like a more empowered perspective, but you know I think the new music is just very like vulnerable and sensitive and
Mm-hmm.
um yeah, like I'm just writing a lot of like songs, if that makes sense, just like
Mm-hmm.
song first and being, I think, like so on like so honest, like in a way that I've really never been before creatively and artistically. So all the fun stuff, boys, love, life, you know good stuff, all the good stuff is themes. Love.
Love, always a big,
Love.
that's what the girlies want to hear about. So
I don't blame them. That's what I want to hear about too.
just need somebody to give me the answer.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I get it. I
Like,
get it. I get it.
we can just all relate to each other through music.
Literally. That's the key. Honestly, that's the goal. So hopefully, yeah, songs like that hopefully like give some answers, honestly.
I think it does. It also just like I'm not alone. People feel the way I feel.
Yeah, that's
It's not
massive.
crazy.
Yeah, it's huge. Like it's literally huge. And so that hopefully, I mean, that's also like what music did done for me growing up and still does for me. So like I feel like if music can do that, if you can make music like that as an artist, like that's literally like the most rewarding thing. Because like in the end of the day, like I want it to be that, you know, like I want it to be something that like people feel something to. Because it is like I write for me, of course, and like I do it. It's like an outlet for like being cathartic, but like I also want to share and like have communal experience and like, you know, be able to like play shows and like connect with people and create this like safe environment that feels, yeah, like emotional and great and like, yeah.
I agree. I think
Yeah.
there's like that saying every girl experiences like a horrible like breakup at 18, 19, and 20. It's like in those ages, like you experience that one breakup. And I was like, oh, well, I like kind of recently went through one. And then when
Oof.
your song, I was like, yeah, like this hits. This
Oh
resonates.
my God. Well, I'm sorry. I know what it's like. It's so bad, but I'm like with you. And like we're all with you.
We're all doing it together.
We're all going through this.
Mhm.
So, but like I get it. It's crazy how much you don't before you go through it, like you don't understand how like painful it is.
Yeah. You don't.
I was like,
Hmm. I thought people were being dramatic. I was like, it's
so
not.
did I.
I was like, it's not. And then it happened, and I was like, why do I feel like I'm dying? Like, what's
No,
happening?
it's like literal death. Like it's horrible. I was like, I literally said to my best friend, I was like, people are just walking around like
Yeah.
in the midst of this. I was like, oh my God. I was like, what? I'm like, what? I was like, this is terrible. This is literally horrible. So
Yeah.
now I like really sympathize. I'm like, whoa, like this is a different beast. It's a
Mhm.
different animal. Honestly, I'm like, okay. I
Rowan.
feel bad now for
Yeah.
everybody. I've ever been like, okay, I'm so sorry. I'm like, oh wow.
Like, ugh, I get it now.
Yeah, I get it. It's bad.
People tell me horror stories like, oh yeah, I got like I went through a breakup and had to take a final the next day. I was like, I could never do that.
No,
After experiencing it, I can't do that.
no, it's not possible. It's I feel like people need like breakup like leave, like maternity leave. Like people need like breakup leave.
I agree.
It's painful. It's like so hard. I think that that's something people need to consider.
Yeah, putting it out there. Corporate America, consider this.
Corporate America is a message for you from us to you. Honestly, maybe that's what I'll. Maybe if I have a big enough platform one day, that's what I'll. That's what I'll
Yeah,
instill. Break up leave for everyone.
I'd
That's what
love
I'll do.
it. Yeah.
Great, amazing, perfect. We've won. We've won, Signy. That's starting strong, honestly.
I want to talk a little bit about performing your music. When you're on stage, like what emotions or sensations do you experience? And does that influence your connection with the audience?
Like totally. I really love performing, like a lot. I love like being in the room with people and like feeling, you know, their energy. It's like it's a very like um symbiotic relationship. Like I think that's why sometimes when you see artists that like go on stage and perform in a city where like people don't seem to care, whatever, like you can see that it's like physically affecting them because it is like it's this like very emotional, like honestly sort of like spiritual thing that happens. And yeah, like I feel like it's very meditative too. Like your brain just kind of like goes to a totally different place and you're connected to like what the song is. And I think once you get if you go there, like that's when a concert is good and impactful for others too. Because like they get to go there with you.
I agree. Well, what can fans expect to see from you in the near future?
Hopefully new music. And I would love to also like go on tour with like an opener. Like that would be amazing. So hopefully new songs and hopefully tour. Really, that's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah.
So
Like, I'm kind of manifesting for you. Do you know Zach Sang? Like the Zach Sang?
yeah,
I feel like I could see you on there soon.
please let's absolutely put that out.
That's what I meant.
Let's throw that one out there. I would love that. That would be great. That'd be fun. I feel like there's that show. It's like really great conversations.
I agree.
Like honestly, so many sound bites all over my For You page all the time.
Exactly.
Yeah, I would love that. Okay, great. We have so much for manifesting after this conversation. We've got a lot in the works. But we're killing it. We're doing it.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna
It's gonna
happen.
happen.
Someone
It's
think
gonna
if you
happen.
want it because you already have it, it's gonna happen.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Well, do you want to take a second to promote yourself, tell people where to find you, Spotify, Instagram, TikTok?
Yes. My TikTok is Celia.Babini, Babini. And you can follow me there. And also on Instagram, same thing. No dot though. And yeah, Spotify, Celia, and come hang out, come say hi. I'm on there every day. So
So I always I'll tell the UCI students, I know that you're going through something. Listen to Celia's music.
please do. Please do. We'll go through it together. We will. It'll be easier if we go through it together. So,
Yeah.
you know,
Just might as well just turn it
might as
on,
well,
hit
might as
show.
well just go to stream. Yeah, exactly.
Not. I know you're studying in the library for 5 hours. Like I see you there. Might as well listen to.
Yeah, yeah, on repeat. Just
Yeah,
loop,
just keep
loop
going.
it. Who cares?
Fine. Might as well.
Fine, it's fine. After a while, it would just
Yeah.
become noise, and it'll be good. It'll be good.
Well, thank you so much for doing this. This has been amazing.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for reaching out. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I was just gonna throwing a Hail Mary out there and it worked. And I manifested it. So see?
You did. You're the key. You're the key to the success. So we can keep going. That's great. It's the Hannah touch.
Exactly. Manifesting, Alana collab, a Rosalia collab, Zach Sang show,
Yes, we're
huge
manifesting.
breakup leave.
Yeah, breakup leave. That's the top of the list, honestly.
It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
thank
it was so nice to talk to you.
so fun to talk to you too. Thank you so much for coming on my show.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Yeah, I think we're good. We got through all 15 questions.
Amazing. Amazing. Yeah, I mean, really, thank you for reaching out and like, yeah, excited for it to be out in the world.
Yep.
This was fun.
This was really fun. Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm like awkward too, so this worked out.
Oh no, you're not at all.
Thank you.
You're like perfect. Are you kidding me? I would have never thought that, honestly.
Yeah, last night I made my roommate sit through all the questions and a fake answer.
Oh, that's so cute. No, you killed it. You're like great. I never would have thought that. So
Make it till you make it, guys.
fake it till you make it. Exactly. Exactly. Well, you faked it well, if that's what it was, and you did great. So thank you so much. And your questions are awesome too. Like,
Yeah.
girl, you did your research. I'm like, damn. Love that coming to the table. I was like, oh my God. Yeah, but thank you. It's so good to talk to you.
So good to talk to you too.
And yeah, stay in touch, honestly.
Well,
Please. Okay. Whatever you're doing, have a good rest of your day.
thank you. You too. You have a lifelong like fan here.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, actually. I appreciate that. Well, I hope to hear from you soon. And yeah, maybe one day we'll get to meet in person.
Yeah. If you have a show, I'm definitely gonna come.
Wonderful. Okay, thank you so much, Hannah.
Bye.
Okay, bye.